You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Moline, the co-author of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I'll be sitting down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, follow, share, like, comment, do all those things. If you want to take the conversation beyond the podcast, go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success, and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Also, check out our TikTok. Check out our new Instagram. We got a new Instagram at Roofing Success. Check that out. Today, we're here with Paul Perez of Texas Family Roofing down in San Antonio, Texas. Good to have you on, man. How's it been? How you going?
Yeah, man. It's going good. You know, we're just working and hustling. We're doing pretty good right now.
Nice, man.
So, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, awesome. Good to have you. So for people who don't know Texas Family or haven't come across you guys, give us a little background on Texas Family Roofing.
Yeah, so Texas Family's been open for about this will be our 6th year, and we're based out of San Antonio. That's where I live, and then we also service all the way up to North Austin. So downtown San Antonio all the way to North Austin, which is a pretty good area for us. Like I said, we've been open this will be our 6th year, and we're doing pretty good. I mean, we have no complaints. Everybody's grinding it out. So we're doing good. Nice,
man. And how did you get into roofing?
Okay. So that's a good story, man. Let's get into the details here. So I think when we talked before, so I've been in the construction industry for about 21 years, right? So started in 99, working with, I was actually a framer back then. So I was installing like vinyl siding, hardy plank. I was framing houses, building staircases, doing all of the hard work. Then I got into running a business out of it, and I serviced almost every builder here in San Antonio. So we were building like 40 to 50 houses a year. 40 to 50 houses a week. We were building a lot of houses. And then, things during the recession, everything just went down, lost everything. Nobody was building, stopped completely. I didn't work for about 2 years. Told myself I'm never going to get into construction ever again. I'm done with construction. I'm just going to have to find something else. A buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey man, I got some apartments to start building. Let's get going again." So I said, "Okay, you know what? Let's do it. It's easy money. This is my background. I've been doing it for so long." And then, and did that for a little while. And then I told myself, "Hey, you know what? What I really need to do is I need to do something where I can do the least amount of work and make the most amount of money." And I said, "You know what? I see all these white boys out there and they're roofers, but I've never seen them on the roof. Those guys are onto something. I have no idea, but I'm going to look into it." So that's how it started. I said, I need to find, who's making the most amount of money with the least amount of work, and did some research, starting to find out it's a pretty good deal. And that's really how it started. I ended up doing right around that time. San Antonio had that huge 2016 storm, and man, we just didn't have enough roofers, and we didn't have enough local roofers. And I got one job, then it turned into another one. And then like by my 3rd job, my profit on one job was like 20 grand. And I was like, man, I've been doing this wrong for 16 years. So, I kind of got a taste of it and said, this is what I need to do. This is where the money's at. Nice. And yeah, we've been trucking ever since, and it's fun. It's totally different from what I was doing before, but it's enjoyable, and the profits are there as well.
For sure. Let's talk about some of those recession lessons. We're talking about, 2007, 8, time frame.
Yep.
For everyone that was, in business back then or in the trades back then, things changed, and they changed fast.
Right. Super fast.
Like it was it was like you woke up and there wasn't work. And
Yeah.
then the what people were willing to pay for work started plummeting.
Right.
Did you see that in
Yeah.
what you were doing?
So like in 2000 and yeah, it was about 2007, 2008. What happened? And it happened fast. So remember, we were building anywhere from 40 to 50 houses in 7 days. Like that's a lot of houses. I mean, it was unheard of. Obviously, we didn't start there. We started very small, but
Yeah.
the business was there. We were pumping. And then all of a sudden the recession hit, and it was like you went from 50 houses a week down to 20, and then down to 10. And then once you hit that 10, I'm like, well, what's going on? Why did we stop? And they're like, well, you know what? Jose over here can do what you're doing, Paul, for, 40 cents cheaper a square foot. And I'm like, well, then use them. Like, there's no way I'm going to go down on my price. And so not only where we started to lose work, but then everybody was basically undercutting each other and doing it for free. We were a framing company, so we actually just did the labor, and we didn't contribute the materials or anything like that. Well, some of the guys that were out there were actually doing the trash service as well as part of the labor. And they were just cutting themselves way too short. And I said, no, I'm just done. Like, I just we can't continue. So like I said, we went from 50, 40 houses down to 20, 10, and then down to 0. Didn't work for 2 years. It was horrible.
It's crazy. It was a crazy time in the industry and in the trades for sure. Right. Like, and there are these boom and bust cycles that happen, right? It happens, when, especially in some trades more than others, right? Like, that there's more boom and bust cycles. From going through that, right? Going through that, and now, finding success on the roofing side of things, what do you keep in the back of your mind to prepare yourself so that something like that doesn't happen in your business again? Right.
That's a good question. And that's one of the things that building Texas Family, that's something that we're working on to make sure that we don't, that doesn't happen again. So back then I was a framer. I framed houses, and that's all I did. That's all I knew. I didn't explore any other options because, I mean, you're making 15, 20 grand a week. You're just like, I'm doing good. I'm fine. Then it's like, okay, like, man. So this time around, it's like, okay, we got to make sure that we're investing in something else other than just Texas Family Roofing. So we do, my wife and I, we do some real estate. We have some rental properties. We have some historical homes that we have as well. So we are in the real estate game as well, which kind of it's in the background. We don't really talk about it too much, but we do some investing like that. That's one thing. And then also making sure that you can, making sure that you know the proper steps as it starts to slow down. What are you going to do? Where are you going to trim? Just kind of scaling down. Back then, I didn't know how to scale because it was all labor. So not knowing how to scale was another error on our part, that we just didn't know what to do. Yeah. So working on that.
We always plan for the scale up, right? It's like, okay, we're going to need another production manager. We're going to need 3 new sales reps next year. We're going to keep adding, but having a plan on the other side, maybe something that, that you want to have that emergency button, right? Like, okay, this is how we don't go out of business. Right. A fortunate thing in the roofing industry is that, versus building homes and framing and things like that, Mother Nature has an impact, right? Like, so, no recession can stop hail from falling out of the sky. Right? Can stop wind from blowing. And this is, I went through a lot of stuff in that recession too. I was working in real estate businesses and things like that, and own part owner in a couple of real estate businesses. And man, it was crazy. And then I started doing, that's when I started doing more active real estate investing because the market had fallen so far. Labor costs were so good, we could, get a house fixed up for very affordably, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But my wife has been in the flooring business, and she was a salesperson for a flooring company, and most of her clients were restoration companies. And I sat back and I watched them, and I was like, nothing slowed down. Like it made me because there's always fires and floods, right? There's always it's not dependent on if the economy is good. It's not dependent on if people are building homes or buying homes or doing those things. And that was interesting to me. That made me, that was a light bulb, right? There's, if part of your business is weather related, I guess,
yeah,
right? Or emergency related, things that happen without the economy being involved, that helps create a good path. Another thing that you said was, moving money out of your companies. One of the lessons I learned back then was I learned to live a lot simpler.
Yeah.
Right. And then instead of taking the excess money and doing things, spending it, investing. Right. So as you're, it sounds like you learned that lesson too. Hey, it's time to, times are good now. Let's create good times for later.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things, back then I was, we're talking about, what is this, is almost 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah, that's
right. I was single back then. So, I blew money left and right. I was in Vegas. I was in Louisiana. I was at the casinos every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was having a good time. Drove the biggest truck. Oh, you have a bigger truck than me? Let me go get another truck. Very careless with money back then. I had a big house, had lots of equipment. But yeah, now, I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have 3 kids, but I have 2 kids with my wife now. And I'm a little more grown up. We can't be making mistakes like that.
I knew I saw you before. I saw you at Tao in Vegas in 2006.
Yeah.
Is that where I met?
Yeah, probably. We were at the blackjack table.
It was, and those are young lessons, right? I just turned 46. We're starting to, we got some wisdom coming in.
Right.
If you were around back then, right? But those are things, man. And so, for people listening, things can change and things can end quick, right?
Super fast.
It would be when things come down, it will come down in a way that you don't expect it. And so making sure that you have those plans in place, making sure that you're taking them, investing the profits that you're making now to secure a stable future. And then it's you and a partner, correct?
Right. So I started this company. It was Texas Family Roofing for the first 2 years. I think it was about the first 3 years. And then I have a friend of mine. His name's Eric, and he was in the landscaping business. So we've been friends for a while, and we would always bounce ideas off of each other. Oh, this is what we need to do. This is what what's good for you. What's good for me. Yeah. And then from there, I said, hey, well, why don't you and he was doing that part-time because he had a regular job. And business was my business was really booming. And I said, hey, man, do you want to take the plunge with me? Do you want to come and learn about roofing? I'll teach you everything that I know. But not only that, I'm going to teach you about business. I've been in the business for 22 years. I'll teach you about contracting. It's a hard job it's not a hard job. It's a hard job to stay in business. And I said, look, I'll absolutely help you. I'll teach you everything I know. He jumped ship from where he was at, came work for me for about a year. a little bit less than a year, and then I made him a partner in Texas Family Roofing. So he actually owns 49% of the business, and he's a great partner. One of the other things that we talk about also is, I had to ask myself. A lot of people say, "Well, Paul, you've been doing this for 21 years, and Eric only has a couple years under his belt. Why would you give him that opportunity?" And I said, "Okay, me by myself, I could probably build this company to maybe a $3 to $4 million company, which is great. But then all the responsibility comes to me. Everybody's calling me. All the customers are calling me. Everybody wants to talk to the owner, right? So all things come to me. And I said, or I can bring on this partner, and we can work on this together, and we can build this to maybe a $10 million company. And then so now you're 50% owner of a $10 million company, which your half would be 5 mil. But you guys are working together, and then he'll be able to help you in those areas where you need the help. He can deal with customer service. He can deal with some of the labor issues. He can deal, now you have a partner. You have somebody that's right, fully vested in your company. So that's how I brought on Eric, and it's been one of the best things that I could have ever done for my, for me, and also for the company.
For sure, and I've had a lot of conversations over the years about partnerships. I have a couple of partnerships, but like I've had a lot of partnerships, and it's like, what works, what doesn't, how, and I'm of that same mindset. Without it, the partnership will help the growth or create the growth faster, because you work on this and I work on this, right? We can work on two things at the same time, right? We don't have, It's not just me trying to work on everything and keep up with everything. So what advice would you give someone in looking for a partner? If they were thinking about forming a partnership or taking on a partner in their business? Right.
So I've also have had other partners as well, not just Eric. I've also have other partners in other businesses as well. And it's hard. It's super hard to do, right? But a successful one is going to be, it's got to be somebody that and that you can trust. Like it's almost like you're like a homeowner looking for a roofer. They're looking for somebody they know, like, and trust. You kind of got to take that same values and say, this is the person that I got to be able to, I want to know, like, and trust this person. And then from there, what I did was I said, I'm going to get somebody that has no background in construction, somebody that does not know what I know, and somebody that can help me with maybe some customer service. Maybe that's somebody that's going to help me with other aspects of the business. Maybe somebody that's good with taxes, something that I don't want to do. I've been swinging the hammer for this long. What am I weak at? And that's one of the things that I said, you know what, Eric fills those voids, and that's where we're going to use them. And it's been working out really good.
Yeah. That's what I've found too. It's the same thing, like complementary skill sets, right? If someone is really good at sales, then their partner should be really good at operations or production, or right. Like there should be complementing skill sets. If one person is bad with money, one person needs to be good with money. If someone's going to focus on
the best, that's the best key right there is like, the money.
Yeah. And then, so what are other things, have you thought about in these partnerships? Like, I know we do a lot of, like, I think you have to have you have to have the same vision, right? What does 5 years from now look like? What does 10 years from now look like? If one person is saying, man, we want to get this thing to 20 million. And one is like, man, let's just get it to 5. That doesn't, like, you're, unequally yoked or whatever, right? Yeah. Like it's not, how have you had those discussions in building your partnerships?
So since day one, Eric and I, we're like husband and wife right now. You know what I mean? Because we work we're with each other all day,
Yeah.
every day, talking
Yeah.
about what we want to do, how we want to build this company. What is our ultimate goal, right? Not only the ultimate goal, what is our exit strategy, like we just talked about earlier? What do we want to do? What do we want to do in the future? And then, do we want to exit? What do you want to
Yeah.
do? What do I want to do? So luckily Eric and we both have wives, we both have young kids, so we know exactly what we want to do. If we had somebody that if I had somebody that said, no, I want to go and I want to travel, I want to be in Dallas, I want to be in Fort Worth, I want to be, in Oklahoma, then that probably wouldn't be a good partner for me, because I'm close to home. I want to go home every night, and so does he. So we're both have the same vision, like you said. Lots
Yeah.
of talks, we spend a lot of time with each other, and I explain my views, and then maybe he's got a rebuttal, or maybe he's got a better idea. So just brainstorming together is probably the best way to know if this partner is going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah. Another thing you said was that you brought him on and he worked with you for a period of time.
Right, almost a year he worked
Yeah.
with me, and that really helped out as well, because that year that he worked, I was going to realize if he was going to learn and catch on and really show some commitment to this company. If he wasn't, then we were going to have to draw the line in the sand. But
Yeah, so it was a test run, right? You were dating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you're married, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That,
so we dated.
if you're starting from scratch with partners, you won't be able to do that. But if you have an existing company and you're like, man, if I had the right partner, I could, maybe we could take this thing to another level. That may be a way to go about it. Bring someone in, on the employee side and work with them for a period of time. And if they do, kind of, if it becomes that right fit, then make the offer. Did you have the ownership that you were going to intend to partner with him, or did you say, hey, just come learn the business, and then along the way you went, man, I should just let's just give him a piece of it and we could take this thing? Which way did that go?
So when he quit his job, I told him, you're going to have to come work for me. And then we're going to decide. I was really looking for a 50% partner, or 49% partner, because I do make all the calls, or the majority of the important calls. So, I was looking for a partner that was going to take on half the responsibility. And so that's what I told him. I said, hey man, look, this is where I'm at. I'm down to part with 49%. You got to come and show your worth. And if it works out, then I have no problem doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it worked out,
That's awesome. And then, so now, you have the partnership and everything got kicked off with that 2016 storm.
Yep.
Things are moving now. You guys do a great job with building exposure for your company. Right.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that and how you came to doing a lot of the video and social media strategies and stuff.
Yeah. So, I think we talked about this before. We follow Dimitri, right? He's got a program together for a lot of startups, and we, not just him, we follow a lot of people, and everybody's talking about social media, and we should be really getting onto video. And so I said, yeah, that's what we got to do. So, we'll start making videos to kind of expose ourselves a little bit, because back then nobody was really doing videos.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, this is what we got to do. This is the free way of getting exposure. So just start off just doing a couple of videos, posting it, start a YouTube channel, started on Facebook. Back then people would actually see your stuff. It wasn't so congested. So people kind of knew, okay, yeah, Paul, he's a roofer now. He's a roofer. And then I remember, because Eric's huge on social media right now. He runs all of the TikToks and the Facebook and the postings, and he's got a pretty good an audience. And back then I remember telling Eric, hey, here's the microphone. I just bought it. Put this microphone on and I'm going to record you, and you have to say all this stuff. And he was like, oh no, man, I'm not. I came to learn about roofing. I didn't want to get on TV or video. And so, and I'm like, no, come on, let's do it. And I still have those old videos that I'm going to bring up one day. And now the guy comes to work with the mic already connected to his shirt, ready to just start recording stuff. He walks around with the selfie stick and all the gear. So, but we said, look, this is the cheapest way to do it. The exposure, it's there, it's free. You can get on Facebook, you can get on Instagram. And so we put something together where we're like, hey, we're going to post every day. We're going to post every day. We're going to post something good. We're going to post as much as we can. And the one thing that I did notice that a lot of these roofers do is they'll post pictures of their roof, and they're posting like, man, look at this roof. It's amazing, But let's face it, like, people do not care about roofs. They just don't. People don't care, right? So what we started to do, we started showing our faces and said, look, this is who I am. This is who Eric is. This is who Nick is. This is who Jacob is. And then so we started showing people's faces. Not only that, but then if you book with us, guess what? This guy that you see, he's going to be at your place, and you can see what he looks like. Nobody cares about roofs, man. They care about people. And so we did that. And so even to this day, I mean, we do show that we're on a roof and we're doing projects, but for the most part, they're buying into Texas family. We're a family of guys here, and we're going to show up, and maybe one, maybe two, maybe 10 of us that are going to show up. And people like that. They want to have some kind of connection with you. And since then, man, we've just been posting a lot of organic stuff. We post all over the place as much as we can.
And there's it changes the conversations that you have with people.
Right.
Have you noted, have you felt that in your business?
Yeah. So they know who we are. They're like, oh, we saw you guys. Cause a lot of these guys, Eric's put a Friday dance party together. And so it's funny. People start to watch it, they're like, oh, we saw Nick, he was dancing. And so when Nick shows up to their appointment, he's like, oh man, you have some great moves, And so all of a sudden they feel like they know you, and they know who you are. It's not about, oh, I'm getting an estimate from this random guy. I've never seen him. That's just right. Some guy just showed up. It's like, oh no, I saw you. I watch all your stuff. And it helps, being different like that has really helped us a lot.
Yeah. So first of all, when you get started, it's like, here, put this mic on. I'm going to point this camera at you. Say something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like, let's not do that. We can't. Like, what do I say? What do I do? And then, like, what I tell people, I've been training people on doing video for almost 10 years now, training people how to do video, and it's all of a sudden you start to see content everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you start to go, oh, that would be a good video. I can make that video. I can make that video. When you start, it's like, you have no clue, right? Like, you have no clue what to say, what to do. You think your voice sounds funny. You think your face looks funny. Right. There's so many like hurdles to overcome mentally for it. And then all of a sudden it just starts to flow. And then you start getting, sounds like you guys have started getting creative. You have the dance party thing, and you have this that draws more attention, and there's different aspects that you can bring into it. What advice would you give to someone like saying, man, I got to do that, but I just haven't been able to get myself to do it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's tough. You're going to have to be out of your element, Yeah. I would say, because I know a lot of guys that ask me too, man, like, how do you guys do it, And I went from having a business partner to now having a mascot, and I'm like, dude, you got to have a mascot. You got to have somebody that's your hype man. You got to have a hype man, like in basketball, you got your hype man. Yeah. It's kind of, you guys are all huddling, you're kind of doing your dance. That's what Eric is. He brings excitement, we're here. I mean, he's so fun to work with. If you have a hype man and he's there and he's, and he's recording and how he gets everybody to start dancing is, I have no idea. We're some of the installers. They're all like dancing on the roofs and stuff, So that for us, he just kind of turned into the hype man. It's one of those things it's going to suck. It's going to, you're going to be, you're going to say like, oh, I don't like the way I look. And I stutter, or I don't know what to say. Yeah. It is what it is. Nobody cares, If they don't want to see it, they're just going to swipe. and keep going to the next one.
That's
But
right.
a lot of people want to see what you're doing. They want to see what you're all about. And they, oh man, we haven't seen Paul in forever. And I'm watching his video, he's out there with a bunch of guys and on a roof,
Yep.
and they'll remember that.
They'll remember it. And the one thing that you said when we first started talking about this is like, you started doing this content and it reminded people that that's what you do.
Right.
Right. Like, so the people that, when you're posting that organic social media content, you're staying top of mind with your audience, but that your audience begins with your friends and family on Facebook and on, Instagram and things like that. So, if your cousin got a new roof and you didn't do it, and they're like, oh, I forgot that you even had a roofing company.
Yeah, that would hurt.
That would hurt, right? Like, that's the worst feeling in the world. Or, even if it's a childhood friend or someone, you're like, man, I forgot that you even. Social media helps them not forget, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. So I learned a good lesson. My dad's a good businessman as well, and he, I got to give him a lot of credit, because throughout all the years that we growing up, he would always give us all these, these tips and a lot of good stuff education wise of how to run a business. And he said, you got to tell every single person what you do. Doesn't matter who it is. If you met them, if you talk to them, you meet them, you give them a card, you tell them who you are, what you do. And that's kind of what it is. And now we have the internet, but back then when he was in business, he didn't have the internet. So he gave cards to every single person. He met you, he gave you 2 cards or 3 cards. And to this day, my dad I think he orders like 3,000 cards a month. And he gives to everybody. Like every restaurant you go to, you see my dad's card. You see it here, you see it there. He's different, And that was one of the tips. He says, you got to tell everybody that what you do. And sure enough, I mean, that's what we did. We did it on social media, Facebook, Instagram, every friend, every non-friend, every realtor. I know a lot of us, on Facebook, we add all of these realtors. We got to let every single realtor know that we're a roofer. And you're out there dancing. They're going to remember those dancing roofers.
They'll remember it. You make it memorable. First of all, there's very few that will even do content, right?
Right.
Like, there's so few people that will put themselves out there. You're a 1%er, right? When you just by getting yourself on camera, right? Just by doing it. And then, so you're giving yourself the chance, right? Like a much bigger chance, a much greater chance of getting noticed and found and doing business with people. But like you're saying, with the business card strategy, I mean, that was it. Someone has that card and I mean, we used to keep business cards back in the day. I used to have I've still found boxes of business cards. I went to an industry event, 20 years ago or something like that. And I'm like, oh, look at this box of cards. I was like, what do I need these for anymore? But that's how it was passed along. And it's the same strategy. It's just getting people to know who you are and what you do. Now we have the opportunity to add personality to it.
Right. Absolutely. Now it's just, I mean, you got to set yourself apart. How are you going to be different from the other roofer?
Yeah.
How are you, how are they going to remember you? Yep. And so if you're out there making a fool of yourself, they're going to be like, yep, that's why a lot of these guys that are, like Jackass, these guys are doing some crazy stuff out there, but they got so much attention. They've made careers out of what they do,
That's right.
Yeah. So it's been a plus, and we still do it to this day, and it's free. It's free, and you post it, and you post twice a day, 3 times a day. I get it. Some people don't want to do it, but we do it. We do it as much as we can. And we've had a good response from everybody.
Yeah. Another thing you mentioned is homeowners don't care about the new roof that you put on. They really don't care. First of all, they don't want to buy a new roof. They don't want to pay their deductible for a new roof, let alone buy a new roof, right? Like they don't care. I think that telling a story when you're talking about that is relatable to them. This is what we're doing for the Perez family, right? Like we're out here, they had hail damage or wind damage, or they had something happen, or, they bought a house, they've lived in this house for 30 years and it's held up well, but recently a leak developed and we were able to do this and making your content where the homeowner or your perfect customer can see themselves in your post when that problem hits them, right? And then, do you guys do any like customer testimonial things like that on video too? Or
we do customer testimonials as well. We try to get other people involved, especially our customers, so they can say, they're not buying the roof, they're buying the experience, it's like, oh man, Paul was here, Eric was here, Hector was here, and it was great. Like, we didn't just have all these random Spanish speaking dudes on the roof. Like, we actually had Hector was here and he was controlling everything. It's the experience that they're buying. They don't, and like you said, they don't care about the roofs. They're only buying it because they need it. They don't want it. They don't want a roof. I don't even want a roof. I don't want to spend money on a roof.
No, no one does.
We got to take every opportunity to get them to know who we are and watch our stuff and like us. And then that's one more step that we have in front of the other guy that's knocking on their door.
Yep, for sure. And so, so you have all of your organic video content, social media posting and things like that. That's part of your marketing. What other things have been working for you marketing wise, or what marketing lessons have you learned along the way?
Yeah, so we have quite a bit of other stuff. We brand pretty well. We do, just like every other company, we do red and black. One of the things that I think that's really taken off is that I always saw a lot of roofing companies, they have their trailer with a bunch of, with all their stuff in there. And so I said, you know what, that's like a rolling billboard. So I said, let's buy one trailer, let's wrap it super nice and have Texas Family Roofing on it. And what we'll do is we'll park it in front of the house 2 days prior to the install, right? And then once we're done with it, we're going to leave it there for another 2 days. So this trailer is there for a week at this homeowner's house. We're mobilizing all of our stuff to the front of your house, and that trailer just sits there. Now we use it for our catch-all system, and we have some extra stuff in there. But I mean, that thing's a rolling billboard. So when we bought one, then we bought two, then we're like, oh, we need another one. Let's buy three. Now we're at 8 trailers, and one's parked at every single house every day for 5 days. And the neighbors are going to be like, well, what's going on? And it's not like your website, very small and gutters, and it just says Texas Family Roofing, and that's it. You can basically Google it or to see who we are, and we'll pop up. And that has been a game changer for us as well. And I know that in our market, not everybody's doing that because not everybody has eight parking spots for their trailers.
That's right.
So we have them, and we have more to buy. We're going to keep buying them and keep parking them everywhere we can.
That's like a yard sign on steroids, right?
There you go. Yeah. There was a storm that hit here last week, and all the yard signs, people were planting them, and then the Karens come by and pick them all up, and they picked all ours up from legit customers, threw them at our trailer, and I'm like, that's cool. You can take the signs, but you can't take the trailer. It's there.
Take the trailer. That's right.
We got like a $600 security system on it, where if you steal it, you earned it. But it's just a rolling billboard is what it is. And we have eight rolling billboards. So that's, it's good. That's one of the marketing things that we do other than the social media and the internet.
Nice. And then, lots of boots and knuckles, getting to the doors.
Yeah, we do some door knocking, not that much. We try to stay in every avenue.
Okay.
The one thing that we do not do is we do not have an SEO company. We fired our SEO company about 2 years ago, and I have not looked back. I'll be honest with you. I know it's important, but for me, it's like I could put those dollars into something else, into another trailer, and we're doing what works for us.
That's right, and that's what people should do. Like more of what's working, right? A lot of times you can do more of what's working, and then you can add to. Right? Like I always believe in adding to. So if this is working, let's get this optimized and working well. And then let's add this other avenue and get that working well. And then you can add another avenue and work, and, like there's no one way to do business. That's like you could try to copy a business and you could take the things that are working for them and they might not work for you.
Right.
It's not the same for everyone. And so, yeah, and in different markets react differently and just, the other part of it in working with an SEO company or something is you got to have the right one, the one
right.
that will actually get results for you. And so that's a challenge in finding the right company sometimes. What else do you do? Anything else on the marketing side that's worked over the years, or anything that you're like, well, I guess you said like SEO you're not doing. So
yeah, SEO we're not doing.
Yeah.
We do. Man, I gotta think. We do so much. We're big with Google. So we do. Google local services is pretty
local
good.
Services, yeah.
And so we target also. Like I don't target the entire city. I've lived in every part of the city, and I know where I want to target. So we bought an office, or we didn't buy. We rent an office in our target location. Yes. So we only service this area. We don't service other areas of town.
Yeah.
We just don't. We know where our target's at. So that's where we're going to spend our dollars. So local services we do pretty good. Really we don't spend a lot of money too much on marketing like at the beginning. At the beginning we did a lot of stuff, a lot of flyers, a lot of SEO, a lot of try to find out what works.
Yep.
We did Thumbtack, we did Angie's List, we did all that stuff, Yelp. And now I'm like, what, let's just, if we had extra money, let's go buy another trailer. Let's put some more money into Google. You know what I mean? Yeah. Max out whatever Google will let you do. Whatever Google will let you do, max it out.
Yeah, those local service ads, I like those. That'd be to anyone out there, like max those out.
Right.
Max them out. Like they're not going to get cheaper, I promise you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then once you're in, and I know because there's a good friend of mine that's also a roofer here in my market, and he said, Paul, man, I messed up. He's like, I took it off for like a week or maybe 2. Yep. And he's like, and I'm not visible anymore. He's like, how you're at the top, I have no idea. And I said, well, I just max out the dollars and do not touch it. Now we'll go in. And so one of the things that I do also do is we got to make sure that we're keeping up with all of those sites. You got to get on there because everybody's making changes. Algorithms change. You have to make, if Google wants you to start filling out this form or putting that person's phone number or their full name, then you got to do that. And that's what's going to help you. A lot of people don't know that. They're just like, oh, I got a call, got it, went and sold the job and they're done. It's like, no, man, you got to fill everything out. You got to make sure that Google loves you. Love Google. They got to love you back.
They have to love you back. And the way they'll love you back is by their overall goal is to provide the searcher with the best user experience. So in relation to Google local service ads, first of all, if you don't answer your phone, you're not going to show up for long in Google local service ads, right? Second thing you have to do is they have a dashboard that you have to log into, and where all the calls are recorded. You can do your disputes and stuff like that. And you got to tell them, hey, we booked an appointment with this lead. We booked this one. We booked this one, and then we completed this one, right? Like, and in telling Google that, you're giving them feedback that you're the company to get those leads. Seems simple, but a lot of people will just go, oh, I'll just throw a budget at it. And then they don't go in there ever. And man, that doesn't work. No, I'm not getting any leads. Well, you didn't tell Google that you did anything with those leads. If you tell them, by moving it through their system, you can ask for reviews right through that dashboard. So if you get a review, if you got a phone call through there, you close the job through there and you got a review through their system, that's telling Google, man, we're the company, send them our way. We'll take care of them, right? And so that's a big thing. But that program, like it's really good. Like I don't, if you participate in it, like if you're doing the right thing. That's awesome. Another thing that you guys have done really well is reviews. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So that also goes hand in hand with Google, right? If you want to rank up there, you got to have some good reviews. And it's tough. Google reviews is tough, because nobody wants to ask for it. Nobody wants to like say, hey, can you, because it's a tough job if you're doing roofing and if you're doing extra stuff too. There's delays if you're doing gutters and screens and stuff like that. So I will tell you, and it's kind of with that. Part of our business is, and we just made this change last year, is we only do roofing. We will not do anything else anymore because we want to have the customer service. It has to improve. We need to be fast. So in order to do, because we are a roofing company, sometimes we would do the gutters and the screens, as a, we weren't making that much money on all of that stuff. Oh, excuse me. So we kind of said, if we can get rid of all of these other services and just target in roofing, we're going to be able to be done so much faster. You're talking about maybe a 2-week job is going to be done like in 3 days. So that we made that change, and oh my God, it's a game changer. So doing that, now you feel more comfortable asking for that Google review. Now you're like, hey, we knocked your roof out in 1 day. We knocked it out in 3 days. Are you happy with the services? Would you mind leaving us a 5-star review? Now, with that also, we send a text at certain parts of the job. We'll send the text to that homeowner and say, how was your experience? When we're done with the job, they'll get a text. And then when they're done paying, they'll get another text. So we do double touch on the text, and then we'll do double on the emails. So they'll get also an email when the job is complete. And then they'll get an email when the job is paid. And then also our construction manager, while he's out there doing the final walk with them, and they're happy and it's exciting and they're happy with their new roof, and he'll say, hey, did we give you a 5-star service? And they're like, absolutely. And he's like, scan this.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to talk about me and my name, and that'll help us, improve our services and help your neighbors as well.
Yeah. So
we do pretty good on it. I know we can do better because it is tough. And there's other people with more reviews than us, but we're going to keep kicking it and keep trying to strive for more reviews. And reviews are huge because you'll walk in to an appointment, which I still go to appointments, and they're like, yeah, Paul, we already know who you are. We saw your videos and we looked at all your reviews. And so we know we want to go with you. Before I even did anything, before I even got on the roof, no presentation, we know we want to go with you. And you can't ask for anything better than that.
People trust reviews as much as a recommendation from a friend or family member.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing. Like when you sit down and they're like, yeah, you're Jim highly recommended you. And, I'm like, what do we need to do? Right. They don't even question anything, right? It's the same thing. They already saw the public opinion on you. Right.
Right.
I love that you build in multiple touch points in the process. You're asking them, or you're letting them know this is going to help us. And then at the moment of peak happiness, I call it, right? Moment of peak happiness, scan this.
Right.
The other part of that is they've probably built some relationship with that person, that project manager, or whoever's on with them at that time, that says, here, scan this and leave us a review and mention me.
Right.
Because then it's not for the company, it's for Paul.
It's for that person.
It's for that person. And people, I think people are more likely to do something for you than for the company. Right. Because there's a relationship there with the sales rep or the, and so all great things. And I mean, you guys are crushing it on reviews. You do have a lot of great reviews, and that's a testament to that process. Another thing that you mentioned, and going back a little bit, but it said you got an office where your perfect customers are.
Correct. Yeah. That was also a game changer for us, We not only do I live about 7 minutes from my office, which is super convenient. Eric lives like 6 minutes from the office. And then this is our target location. So a lot of people say, roofers have a bad name. Roofers come and go. Everybody knows what a storm chaser is nowadays. They're like, oh yeah, we had storm, all these guys from Oklahoma, Dallas, everywhere. So they can see where your office is at, or they see, because we're right across the street from the Sprouts, right? Which is a grocery chain here.
Yep.
And they're like, we see your trailers right outside of Sprouts, so we know where you're at. So having that location and exposure, and we park as many vehicles out there, as many trailers, so that people know that, hey, this is where we're at. And that works. People want to know that you are part of the neighborhood, and we're in a neighborhood. We're not like on a busy street.
That's right.
Or busy highway. We're in a neighborhood. We're here. We're probably your neighbor. Like I said, I live 7 minutes from here, super close. So people enjoy that. That's what they want.
And another thing that helps with on Google that you may or may not be aware of is your maps listing on Google. It's extremely proximity based. So if your office was on the south side of San Antonio and your perfect customer lives on the north side of San Antonio, you're not going to show up as well there.
Right.
So as a strategy or not, by just having the office there, you're going to show up in those Google Maps, because of your proximity. And those are your perfect customers. They're there. You're and they see you, and they see, it's multiple times. The more that they see your brand over and over again makes a huge, huge impact. What would you say you guys are doing on the sales side of things? Like what's been what are the best practices in your company on the sales side?
So for us on the sales side, we started off with paper and pen, right? Just like every company, right? That's all you can afford. You're like, I got a bunch of contracts. Don't even know what the contract says. It just looks cool because I got it from somebody. I've slapped my logo on there. Yeah. That was good. That's what worked back then. As we grew and technology is getting better, and you have your competition, you're like, well, these guys showed up with an iPad and I'm over here with paper. You start exploring other options and being part of the community on Facebook and Instagram, and you start seeing what everybody's using. So what we do is we have an iPad that every one of our sales, we call them roof experts, right? They wear these shirts that say roof expert. And so right off the bat, it's like, I'm going to show you one real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So this is what we're wearing when we walk in. When we walk to your house,
black t-shirt that says roof expert on it.
I'm here and I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert in the roofing industry. And so I'm here to take care of you. This is what we do. We use Sumo Quote. And so we'll use Sumo Quote, which is amazing. It's a lot of work to build Sumo Quote the way you want it. And so we've put in the work, or I've put in the work. People are like, oh, we don't see you out there having fun in videos. Like, man, I'm building something here. So I've built Sumo Quote the way we want it, to where our salesmen can get there, get on the roof, take some photos. We use Company Cam. It integrates with Sumo Quote. We go down to the customer and we're like, here it is. I mean, within minutes. We also use iRoofing, by the way. iRoofing. So iRoofing gets inputted into our into Job Nimbus. Sumo. Okay, right. I'm like, okay, let me just tell you everything we use. iRoofing, Job Nimbus, Sumo Quote, and it all integrates together, and Company Cam, to where we're having the whole presentation on the iPad, and we're showing them everything that they need, all of their damage. This is where we're at. Here's the price. It's already been pre-generated. It's ready to go. And this is your warranty, and this is where you sign. and we can put you on for next Thursday. I think I'll call Hector, and I think we got an opening for Thursday. And we're there. We're done. We're giving them all of the information before they even ask. If that customer has a question after we're done, then I didn't do my job right.
Yeah.
So that means that so that's the reason that I still go on these calls, because I want to make sure that there's no voids and every question can be answered on our presentation. Most of the time, customers are like, no, looks like you covered everything. And I'm like, okay, so let's just go to the sign now. And then let's go ahead and get this contract signed so we can get you on the schedule.
That's a great way to build out your process and your sales presentation, is essentially taking the questions that you get along the way and make sure that gets included into the presentation going forward. Right. So then you get to a point where there are no questions. I love the concept of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
It's the best feeling, because you know that you covered everything, and the other guy that came before you, he must have left something out, or the guy after you, just didn't have all the answers. But it's pre-built into Sumo Quotes, where
that's right. So you're using technology. You're using technology to enhance this and create a nice visual presentation and make it frictionless, right? Like you want it to be frictionless. That's awesome. What do you think the biggest insight is that you could share with our audience that has helped, Texas Family Roofing find success?
Man, it's a lot of work. It's if you're not willing to put in the work, then you're not going to reach your goals. That's nothing is stronger than good old hard work. Just spending the time and grinding it out. You can ask my wife, she'll tell you, I'm working nonstop. Now, my dad's hitting 80. My dad works every single day. And it's just in our blood, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm still working. I'm still out here working. I call him at night and in the evening, and he's like, oh, I'm still out here. What are you doing at home? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not at home. I'm working, or I'm on the computer, Dad. And he's like, oh yeah. But good old hard work. And research, on the weekends, most people are just hanging out and chilling, and which I still do. I still enjoy going out, taking my kids. We do stuff. But when I'm at home, I probably have my phone or my computer, iPad, and I'm researching what other people are doing, researching my competition, researching myself, making sure that all of my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed. And oh man, Google has an update. I didn't even know about this. Or now I'm allowed to add 10 more photos and I didn't know. So there's so much to do. And it's not out there swinging the hammer. You just gotta commit and do the work. And that's what's going to help you grow your business.
Great. Thanks, Paul. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
If you would like to generate more sales through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com and get a copy of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thanks for listening.